I had a document in my hand while I stood there, trying to smile while eating a platter of lukewarm ribs, like I hadn't just been made fun of by Loretta, Chad's mother, in front of 30 people. She held up her wine glass and exclaimed loudly. Loud, enough to be heard throughout the backyard. "She's a horrible mother, was a bad wife too." Everyone laughed. Chad's aunt bit her lip as she snorted into her beer. Someone else, trying to hide a smile, whispered, "Well, she's not." "Wrong!" My hands were shaking. I wasn't even there anymore. I felt awful, nearly dropped the plate. My face burned before I realized I wasn't breathing. I wanted to vanish. I glanced at my son, Miles, who was peacefully sitting near the patio steps, pretending not to hear. He swung his legs, but I knew he heard. He always hears me. Across the yard, I caught Chad's attention. He just smiled and shrugged. "Mom's joking," as if this was some perverse family tradition, and maybe it was. The Maddox family has always had a way of turning cruelty into comedy. I never imagined I'd be their favorite punchline. I reminded myself to stay calm, not for them, for Miles. And then suddenly, I didn't even see him get up. 1 second, he was on the grass. The next, he was climbing onto a white plastic chair in the middle of the yard. At first, he just stood there, 6 years old, in his little Spider-Man shirt glowing in the sunlight. Everyone turned to look. They laughed, expecting him to sing or say something cute. Loretta was mid-sip when he said it. Still calm. Still small. "Grandma," Miles said, "I have something Dad doesn't want you to know." The laughter stopped. The air shifted. Glasses were left untouched. Chad froze. You can tell when a man's been caught in a lie. He stepped forward, motioning. "Come down, buddy." But Miles didn't move. He looked right at Loretta, with those big chocolate eyes, and said again, "Grandma, I have something Dad doesn't want you to know." The silence was so deep, I could hear the wind chimes beside the porch. Nobody laughed now. Everyone knew something irreversible was about to happen. And the most surprising part? It wasn't coming from me. It was coming from my son. I didn't go to that cookout for drama. I went for Miles. He had begged to see his cousins for weeks. I'd said no the first few times because I missed them, because Chad asked. It was the family's annual backyard party, and Miles knew it. The night before, he was in bed, tracing stars on his ceiling with his flashlight. "I don't want them to forget me," he said. That's all it took. So I said yes, against my better judgment. Ray warned me not to go. My sister never holds back. When I told her, she said, "Jessa, they can't make fun of you twice if you don't give them the stage." I promised her I'd stay composed. Jeans, a simple blue blouse, nothing fancy. Miles wore his favorite shoes, the ones with the little dinosaurs on the soles. We arrived 20 minutes late, tried to skip the opening act. Didn't matter. As soon as I stepped into that backyard, it felt like I'd walked into someone else's house. The tension wasn't loud, but it was there. You could feel it in your chest. Chad greeted us with his usual fake warmth. Sunglasses on, one-armed hug. "You made it," he said. "The main man's 5 burgers deep. Go get a juice box." Then turned his back, no eye contact, just like I was the help. Loretta, sipping sangria on the deck, waved at Miles with her tight-lipped grin, then looked over her shoulder and muttered, "Well, at least she brought the kid on time." I pretended not to hear. You learn to pretend. When you've survived a marriage like mine, I found a quiet spot near the fence. Kept my eye on Miles. Braced myself. Lisa, one of Chad's cousins, tried to make small talk. "I don't know how you do it," she said. "Being a single mom would drive me insane." I smiled. "Just do what you gotta do." What I didn't say was that I had gone insane, quietly, at 3 a.m., trying to budget for sneakers and therapy in the same week, all while Miles played tag with his cousins, running through sprinklers, laughing, happy, so I held on to that. But Chad's family? They have a way of turning every moment into a test, like you're always auditioning and failing. Every smile has teeth. Every joke draws blood. Loretta especially knows how to cut. She complimented Miles at first, then said, "He must have grown on that processed food." Then took a bite of potato salad like it was nothing. And later, she said the words that would echo in my ears all night. She's a horrible mother, just like she was a horrible wife. No warning, no build-up. Just a dagger strategically placed in a backyard full of witnesses. Not everyone laughed, but enough did. I felt naked. On someone else's perfect lawn, Ray noticed from across the yard. She wasn't allowed to come in, but she did anyway, phone in hand. My phone buzzed seconds later. "Let's leave. Now. You don't owe them this." Turned back. Miles was by the flower beds, holding a butterfly on his finger, oblivious. Beautiful. I stayed. For him. Because if I dragged him away, he'd know something was wrong, and I wouldn't let Loretta steal that moment, too. So I stood there. Pretended. Counted to 60. We'd leave. But at 30, I turned. And Miles was gone. Then I saw him. Climbing. That chair. Like a stage. Everyone turned. And when he spoke, everything changed. He's a quiet boy. Thoughtful. He whispers things like, "Do clouds get tired? Do adults have nightmares?" But he's not loud. That's Chad's thing, not his. And yet there he stood, tiny fists at his sides, chin lifted. "Grandma," he said, "I have something Dad doesn't want you to know." Some people laughed. They thought it was a joke. Chad certainly did. He walked toward Miles, smiling that fake father smile. "1 second, buddy, that's enough now. Let's not make a scene." But Miles didn't flinch. "This isn't a scene," he said. "It's the truth." Chad stopped. Everything stopped. Loretta looked at me, annoyed, maybe scared, but sure. "This was just a child's game. Let the boy speak," she snapped. But I didn't know what he'd say, only that something was coming, like thunder in the distance. I whispered, "You don't have to, baby." But Miles didn't look at me. He said, "Dad says mean things about Mommy when he thinks I'm asleep." He looked at Loretta. "I hear him. He says she's broke. Says she ruined people's lives." Gasps. Mouths opened. No one smiled now. Chad didn't step forward again. Miles kept going. "Dad says Mommy's useless. He says things he wouldn't say if she was there." Loretta tried to recover. You know how kids are. Misunderstood. But Miles just said, "I understand. I'm not upset. I'm just telling the truth." Ray stepped beside me, whispered, "You okay?" I nodded. But I wasn't. I felt exposed, like my pain had been ripped open on a lawn full of strangers who used to think I was the problem, but for once, they were seeing, really seeing, my son, not a trophy, not a prop, a person, a witness. Chad mumbled something and walked back inside. Nobody followed, not even Loretta. The storm passed, but it left the sky broken. Miles climbed down, came to me. I knelt to his level, brushed grass from his knees, kissed his head. "Why did you do that?" I asked. He looked up at me, those solemn, too wise eyes. "Because you didn't say anything," he said. I pulled him into my arms, and I held him.